Now, in terms of where to start, okay, there is a lot of support and websites and forums out there for you to look into all the different types of universities and the different courses. If you were a bit like me, where you have literally no idea what you want to do, no idea what kind of courses are even out there, UCAS is probably your best bet. So UCAS is going to be where you do most of your research. It's also going to be where you put in your application, and it's also going to be where you track your application as well. So this is how the universities will contact you once they've made a decision on your application. Once they've read your personal statement, they will contact you via the UCAS website. Now, as well as UCAS, please use as many online resources as possible when you are starting to make those decisions. So things like which university, Unistats, where they will compare the different university courses, and it will take into consideration student feedback, actual student feedback, who are currently at the university. Things like league tables can be quite useful to look at as well, especially if you're looking at specific kind of courses. University social medias, I know here at Cardiff Met we have some great channels on our social media where you can see quite a lot of the different types of things that the universities are getting involved in, certainly through Instagram and Instagram stories. So I encourage you, if you're looking at a specific university, to make sure you're having a little look on their social media pages. Things like the university websites themselves, what I used to do was use UCAS website as my starting point, and then as soon as I found a subject that I was quite interested in, make sure I went on that university website where you can look into it a lot more detail. So yeah, we encourage you to get online, to look at all the different types of resources and websites that are available to help you make the best possible decision when you're applying to university. So in terms of the actual application process, so we encourage students to start it now, to start it earlier, so that they can get all the research done, they can start thinking about their personal statements, ready for the different kinds of deadlines that come up in the next term. So the first deadline is the 15th of October. Now this deadline is usually for Oxbridge candidates for medicine, dentistry and veterinary science. Now the second deadline is around the 15th of January. Now this is the deadline for all other courses that students are looking to apply for. Now it is worth noting that colleges do tend to have their own internal deadlines, which we encourage you to stick with. And that means the colleges and your personal tutors can look through your applications to make sure that it's right, and they can send it off for you to UCAS, to your universities you've chosen. So those sort of internal deadline dates are really, really important. Now, once you've sent off your application, you can start to hear back from the universities. Some universities are a little bit quicker in responding. Some universities are a little bit slower. They actually have until the 31st of March to make their decisions on whether they would like to give you something called a conditional offer, which is where they've read your personal statement, they've looked at your application, and as long as you get those grades that you were predicted come results day, you have that place. You might also receive an unconditional offer. Now, an unconditional offer is where the universities have read your application and they are willing to give you a place there and then. Now, again, on the face of it, that sounds amazing, but we want to make sure that students are still studying. We encourage you to still study, to make sure that you are still getting those top A-level and BTEC grades. It doesn't mean because that university is giving you that place that you don't have to do any more work, and that's certainly not the case at all. We encourage you to make sure you continue on with your exams and doing as best as you can. Now, some people do receive an unsuccessful offer, but when you're looking at university and applying, you can actually make 5 choices. Okay, so you don't just have to apply to one university, you have 5 different choices that you can use. And we encourage you to use all 5 so that if one is unsuccessful, you've still got somewhere else to choose and to hopefully attend. Now, after you've received those offers, you then have to make some more final decisions. So one is your firm choice. The firm choice is where you really, really want to go. That's your number one choice. You've been to the open days, you've chatted to the tutors, you love the city, that's where you really want to go. You've also then got something called your insurance choice. Now, your insurance choice is a backup, is a safety net. So perhaps if things do go a little bit wrong, perhaps in your exams or in your coursework, you've still got somewhere to go in your insurance choice. So that's really important to note the difference. Now, once you have made those decisions, you still have one extra option to applying to university. That's something called UCAS Extra, and that's the last applications that we would take before clearing. Now, clearing starts around results day, and we'll talk a little bit about clearing as we go through this webinar. So, what type of courses are there even available? What kind of things can you study? So, when you go onto the UCAS website, again, like I said before, this is a chance you get to be quite specific. So if you've got a specific course that you're interested in, all you need to do is type it in onto the UCAS website, and it will bring a list of all the different types of courses that are associated with that subject. Now, you can also narrow the search or filter the results by location. So if you are perhaps thinking that you would like to stay quite close to home, you don't want to move too far away, you can actually filter it by postcode. So say, for example, you only want to go within 5 miles, you can put that into the UCAS website and it will bring up a radius, like you can see on screen now, that will show you the universities that are within that 5-mile radius. That's really handy, especially if you're not too keen on going too far away from home. You're able to filter all the results so that you get something a little bit more local. Now, once you've put in all of that, you've filtered your results, you know the type of course you want to do, it will then bring up a list of all the subjects that you might be able to study. So, for example, we've got environmental health and you've got a couple of options to choose from. Now, it will give you quite a very brief sort of profile on the course that you are perhaps looking to study. So, for example, here we've got environmental health. It will tell you the duration of the course, and it will also tell you the locations. It will tell you where you would be studying if you chose to take that course on. Now, this is where you need to go into a little bit more specific detail. So it shouldn't just be a case of, oh, that university does that course, let's just put that on the form, that's where I'm going to end up going. You need to look into it into a bit more detail. So what extra information can I find out? And all of this is on the UCAS website. So things like Unistats, so it will look at student satisfaction rates. It will also look at any professional bodies that course is linked to. So quite important if you're looking at some NHS courses or healthcare courses. And there's lots and lots of different information on the UCAS website to give you a brief overview of what the course profile might look like. At this point, this is probably where I would get at the university website as well, so you can have a look at both. So UCAS will certainly be a little bit more vague. You can then go onto the university website and find out a little bit more information. Now, other things to take note of, so qualifications. So you have to have a little look at what the universities are actually asking for. So do I need specific GCSE grades? Do I need some work experience? Do I need to do any other extra exams? So this is where you'll find out all this information, as well as things like deadline, so what the deadline date is, and extra information on student finance as well. So it's really handy, certainly as a starting point, to head to the UCAS website, and it's really easy to use. In terms of searching for courses, if you need any help with anything, the UCAS team are really good at getting back to you and sort of guiding you through this, because for a lot of students, this is very much their first point of call.